Chapter 1. An important announcement. The whole school had to be there. Would the assembly be about Lady Stella and her role in the energy shortage? About her sabotage? Clover flipped out of her hammock, landing perfectly on 2 feet with her arms high above her head. The somersault was really just a habit, but still, she glanced at Astra to see if her roommate had noticed. Astra, a star athlete, had recently returned from Wish World, where she'd helped grant the wish of a young gymnast and had gone to a competition. Now, Astra was projecting a hollow sign with the score 999,999.5. Starf, said Clover. Half a point more and I'd have a perfect moonium. Better luck next time, Astra said. And I'm sure there will be a next time. And I'm sure you'll be there to judge me, Clover shot back with a grin. Acrobatic tricks, kidding around, it all came naturally to Clover. Growing up as part of the Flying Melensa family, Clover had been surrounded by generations of aunts, uncles, and cousins, not to mention her own parents and siblings, who could walk a tightrope while juggling a glozin' Aussie fruits and cracking jokes. Living with Astra had always been a breeze, but living in a dorm at Starling Academy was another story. Before school, Clover had never stayed anywhere for more than a star week. She and her family traveled year-round across Starland, living out of suitcases on the Circus Swift train. Clover had shared a sleeping car with her sisters, and she'd always had an upper berth. That was why she loved her hammock bed. It reminded her of the gentle motion of the moving Swift train. So, said Astra, slipping into her sneakers, I wonder who will be making this big announcement. Surely not Lady Stella. Wouldn't it be star-mazing, though, if Lady Stella called the assembly and everything is back to normal? Clover thought with a sigh. She imagined the school day proceeding just as it always had, with no energy blips, no upheaval, and Lady Stella just where she should be. Starland to Clover! Starland to Clover! Astra snapped her fingers star inches from Clover's face. Come on! We'd better hurry. If the entire school is going to the Astral Auditorium, it will be crowded. Clover nodded. She picked up her hat and placed it on her head, making sure it curved just right. The purple fedora had been handed down to her by her great-grandma Sunny, and Clover planned to pass it down to her own grandchild one star day. It set off her sparkly eyes and short bouncy hair, matching their deep purple shade almost perfectly. She rarely went out without it. Ready, she told Astra. The 2 starlings headed outside and jumped onto the already crowded cosmic transporter. All around them, girls chatted excitedly, making guesses about the important announcement. Hey, Clover! A third-year student named Aurora called out. Maybe Lady Stella is canceling classes because your family is performing. Last star year, Clover's family had visited, and Lady Stella had announced a holiday so the students could watch their show. Everyone had agreed the best part was when Professor Dolores Ray had been invited into the star ring. Professor Dolores Ray was short, in size and temperament, and wore serious large-framed glasses. She was no one's favorite teacher, so when Clover's dad had offered her his arm and led her to a cosmic cannon, the students watched with interest. Clearly, the humorless teacher hadn't wanted to become a Starling cannonball. But at that point, there was no turning back. Clover's dad lit the fuse with a wish energy snap of his fingers, and she'd flown through the air. There's no landing pad! Lady Cordial had screeched in panic. Everyone gasped, but Clover's dad slowed the flight with a wave of his arm, and Professor Dolores Ray landed safely on her feet. It had been fun. But today's announcement had nothing to do with her family. Clover felt sure. No, she quickly said. The circus isn't coming. Well, maybe Lady Stella will hand out the Triple S award today, someone else guessed. The Silver Shining Star was the highest honor in all of Starling Academy, given to a student who had received starperlative assessments in the classroom, in the school community, and in her hometown. Maybe, Clover said pleasantly. She'd be star-prized if this announcement brought any good news, but she couldn't share her thoughts with anyone but a Star Darling. Once they were outside, 3 other Star Darlings walked up behind Clover and Astra, first-year Libby and sisters Tessa and Gemma. They all looked worried. "Star greetings," Gemma said in a quiet voice, at least quiet for Gemma. As the cosmic transporter moved along, she kept up a steady stream of chatter, touching on everything but Lady Stella and the announcement. She could hardly be blamed, Clover thought, only half listening. They couldn't discuss anything there in public. Only sweet-tempered, pink-haired Libby paid attention to Gemma, nodding at every statement. "Did you hear that noise?" Gemma said in a much louder voice. "That rumbling sound? Something must be wrong with the transporter. Remember when it ran out of power just the other—" "Relax, Gemma," Tessa said irritably. "It's only my stomach. You do know breakfast is postponed because of this assembly, don't you? It's really not fair. Some of us need to eat on a regular schedule." Clover understood the part about keeping a schedule. She liked to have a predictable timetable too. But how could Tessa be concerned about food at a time like this? "Tessa," she began to scold. But then Piper slid into place beside her and put a reassuring hand on her arm. How did Piper do that? Always appear seemingly out of thin air. "Relax, Clover," she said in a soothing voice. "Tessa isn't really worried about breakfast. It's just transference, as wishlings would say." "Transference?" Clover repeated. Sometimes Piper had an intuitive sense of others' thoughts and feelings, but sometimes she was way off Starbase. Which was it now? Yes, Tessa is transferring or redirecting her concern about Lady Stella to food, Piper finished in a whisper. Ahead, the cosmic transporter was emptying, and Clover realized they had reached the auditorium. She linked arms with Astra and Piper, and with Gemma, Tessa, and Libby close behind, followed the crowd. Just outside the auditorium doors, the rest of the Star Darlings waited. "Over here!" Leona waved her arms dramatically, her golden curls bouncing. Cassie stood next to her, looking pale. She seemed to be holding on to the arm of her roommate, Sage, for support. The two had disagreed about Lady Stella, Sage supporting the headmistress, Cassie opposing her. Sage had a strong personality, but shy, quiet Cassie had stood her ground, convincing the Star Darlings that Lady Stella was the enemy. Now, looking at Cassie's conflicted expression, Clover wondered if she might be having second thoughts. Scarlet, a short distance away from the others, looked defiantly at anyone who so much as glanced in her direction. Meanwhile, Adora and Vega, their blue heads of hair almost blending into one, were huddled over one of Vega's puzzle holobooks. "Hey, aren't there any science questions?" Adora complained. More transference, Clover decided. "Come on," Sage said impatiently. "Let's go inside." The Star Darling stepped into the auditorium. At the very same Starman, a student named Vivica, just about the meanest girl in school, Clover thought, elbowed her way past, her own group of friends trailing her. Vivica stopped abruptly, and the girl directly behind her tripped, crashing into Clover. "Star apologies," the girl told Vivica, ignoring Clover. "I should have been paying more attention." Vivica sniffed. "Be more careful next time, Brenna." Then she turned to Clover. "As for you, I suggest you try harder to keep up with the crowd. Those SDs, she muttered to her friends. They really are superbly dense. Clover ignored her. The cycle of life was too short to let Vivica get on her nerves. Unfortunately, she wound up sitting directly behind her in the auditorium. I'm really wondering about this big announcement, Vivica was saying to Brenna. If it is the Triple S Award, Brenna said, you'll be a star in. Me? Getting the Triple S? Said Vivica with loud, false modesty. Why would they ever give it to little old me? Yes, I was the champion light skater at the Luminous Lake competition, and I earn all I's in my classes. Illumination, illumination, illumination. That's all my star report says. And of course, there's the band I put together. We're totally stellar. Still, the award? The lights brightened, signaling the students to be quiet. Then Lady Cordial shuffled to center stage. She gazed around nervously, gripping a microphone in one hand. She tucked a loose strand of purple hair behind her ear, and the mic hit her head. A loud screech sounded, reaching the last rows. Clover, an old hand at performing in front of an audience, squirmed uncomfortably. Lady Cordial was so awkward and shy, Clover's heart went out to her. Clearly, she wished she was light years away, not standing on stage about to deliver a major announcement. Ahem. Lady Cordial cleared her throat. Star greetings, students, she stuttered. Do you know she stutters? Vivica said in a stage whisper to Brenna. Clover groaned to herself. Why did Lady Cordial always choose words that started with the letter S? I will get right to the point, Lady Cordial continued. Clover nodded encouragingly at the stage. Not one S word in that sentence. That was a start. Lady Cordial dropped the mic, and the thud echoed throughout the room. Star apologies, she cried. Clover glared around the room, daring anyone to laugh. I asked you here today, Lady Cordial said, plowing ahead, a bright purple blush flooding her cheeks, to relay important news. Clover sat forward expectantly. This definitely had to do with Lady Stella. Did Lady Cordial know what had happened to her? Lady Stella has been unexpectedly called away due to a family emergency. A loud hum filled the auditorium. Okay, Clover thought. Lady Stella is really gone, and the family emergency must be an excuse. But Lady Cordial looked like she had more to say. As Director of Admissions, I am next in line, she went on. So, I will be temporarily in charge. The room erupted with cries of surprise. Only the Star Darlings remained silent, exchanging worried glances. Lady Cordial called for quiet. She waved her arms frantically, but the noise didn't subside. Finally, Professor Dolores Ray whistled for everyone's attention, and the students settled down. Lady Cordial nodded, as if she'd called on the teacher to step in. I hope everyone will be patient with me. This is a huge step with a definite learning curve. It may take some time for everything to run smoothly. 3 S words, Clover thought. Not quite a record, but she knew Lady Cordial's speech would end with a great big embarrassing double S phrase. She waited a beat, then nodded as Lady Cordial finished with star Salutations. The lights brightened once again. The assembly was over. The Star Darlings, in silent agreement, stayed seated, while the other students hurried out, eager to talk about the news. Not even Vivica gave the SDs a glance. Clover pulled Astra to her feet. "We should talk things over," she told the group. "Astra, is it okay if everyone comes to our room?" Just then, their star zaps buzzed with a group holotext. Clover read it quickly. "Please report to Lady Stella's office immediately." "What?" said Libby, confused. "But she's not here." Their star zaps went off again. "Correction, Lady Cordial's office, formerly Lady Stella's." "That makes sense," Vega said in her practical way. "Lady Cordial's old office was so small and cramped, you could barely turn around without knocking over a holofile. At least now she'll have space to get organized." But they found that Lady Cordial's new office was anything but organized. It looked like a lightning bolt had struck. Hollow books lay scattered on the floor. Desk drawers hung open haphazardly, and Lady Stella's lovely silver table was buried under hollow files. Lady Cordial was nowhere to be seen. "That's strange," said Clover, peering around. "Why would she call a meeting if she's not even here?" "Sit down, girls." Clover spied 2 feet, clad in clunky purple shoes sticking out from under the desk. "I'll be with you in a starsec." If Clover had been in a different frame of mind, she would have burst out laughing. She watched as Lady Cordial squirmed her way out, took a deep breath, then stumbled to her feet. "Can we help you?" asked Cassie. She shook her head. "I've looked everywhere. It's gone." "What's gone?" asked Leona. Lady Cordial sighed. "Lady Stella had a wish energy meter that she used to determine the balance of energy. It's nowhere to be found. She must have taken it with her," she finished, seating herself in Lady Stella's chair. Clover sucked in her breath. It was silly, she knew, but she wished that space could stay empty, at least until everything was straightened out. "I wanted to share my thoughts with you girls. You've already told me everything that happened when you last saw Lady Stella. Now it's my turn." Lady Cordial leaned forward, knocking over 1 holofile, 2 hollow books, and a Galliope figurine. While she reached down to pick up the items, Clover thought back to everything that had happened. Right after Adora had returned from her mission, the Star Darlings had agreed they needed to confront Lady Stella, but they decided to talk to Lady Cordial first. She'd know exactly what to do, they thought. "Of course, I told you I'd support you when you spoke to Lady Stella," Lady Cordial said now, following Clover's swift train of thought. "Unfortunately, as you know, my shoe got jammed in the cosmic transporter, and I had to ride around the school twice, missing the meeting." At first, Lady Stella had been pleased to see them, Clover remembered. She'd been urging them to come to her with questions or concerns. And finally, there they were. But then Cassie and Scarlet took turns talking, Cassie looking torn even as she outlined all the evidence, and Scarlet not quite meeting Lady Stella's eyes. And Lady Stella's calm expression had turned stormy. Finally, Cassie had finished, saying, "We believe you should not be the headmistress anymore." Lady Stella nodded slowly. "Forgive me," she said, standing up. There was a glittery flash and a crackle and pop. The air filled with smoke. When it cleared, Lady Stella was gone. One star sec she had been there, the next she had disappeared without any explanation. Clover had been holding out hope that they were wrong, that Lady Stella would laugh and have an explanation for everything. But then Clover realized that Lady Stella must be guilty of sabotage. Why else would she run away? Of course, that was Clover's head talking. Her heart still said something else. That confirms it, Sage had said firmly as the smoke cleared, her voice only trembling a bit at the end. Lady Stella is responsible for everything. Lady Cordial cleared her throat, and Clover was brought back to the here, Lady Stella's office, and now Lady Cordial in charge. I believe I have it all figured out, Lady Cordial said. Lady Stella has been training wish granters for star years. It is known throughout the worlds she is the best, the brightest, the most accomplished teacher. Future wish granters have thanked their lucky stars to be her students. Clover nodded. She'd learned so much from Lady Stella. But because of her role, Lady Cordial went on. She was privy to knowledge the rest of us weren't privy to. For stars know how long. She knew there was a wish energy deficit, that we'd soon be losing power, and she kept us in the dark. Literally, Clover joked. Ahem. Lady Cordial frowned, and Clover felt bad. This was hard enough for the new headmistress. She didn't need a wise star interrupting. At any rate, Lady Cordial continued, Lady Stella eventually left a hollow letter open on her desk. I read the warnings. I confronted her, and she had to confide in me then, along with a few other faculty members. But still, she wasn't concerned. Still, she did nothing about the crisis. Then one star day, I was exploring the underground caves, and I came upon a hidden room. It was filled with ancient tomes. I spent star hours there, poring over rare old hollow books. And then I came across a special one. She cast a significant look around the table. It was about 12 star-charmed starlings who are fated to save Starland. Clover bowed her head, still awed by the responsibility. Lady Cordial continued. I immediately realized we could use this information to help Starland. Lady Stella was very reluctant to pursue this, but I wouldn't give up. I persevered and took matters into my own hands. I combed through records and test scores and sat in on classes. I identified you 12 star darlings. Lady Stella appeared to support your group, but she replaced Scarlet with Ophelia for a time. She was responsible for the poisonous flowers and nail polish, for interfering with missions, and for trapping you in that underground room. We already know all that, Scarlet said crossly. The question is why? Why would she do it? Lady Stella wanted the energy deficit to worsen, Lady Cordial replied. She was working against me. against us, against our planet, the whole time. Clearly, she thrives on negative energy. It gives her power. There is no other explanation. She paused. Who knows what she would have done with that power? Clover gasped, stated so baldly, it was shocking. What happens now? Asked Cassie. Excellent question. I am hoping no further action will be required. Lady Stella must have gone into hiding. Most likely she will never return. So now, we work to repair the damage she caused. We have 2 wish missions left. Lady Cordial's eyes rested first on Clover, then on Gemma. Much can be done. Clover's heart thudded. Everything depended on these next missions, one of which would be hers. She'd work tirelessly to find her wisher, to help grant the wish. And if she couldn't do it? She tossed her head to shake off doubts. It was easier said than done, but she'd just have to prove herself. I still can't believe it, Sage said miserably, her glow dimming. Clover knew that it was one thing to think Lady Stella might be evil, but it was another to have your fears confirmed. If you see or hear from her, Lady Cordial finished, you must alert me immediately. Her destructive behavior cannot continue. I will not let it. These were strong words indeed from Lady Cordial, who was usually so sweet and indecisive. Now she seemed almost fierce. All of a sudden, Clover felt glad they were on the same side. That is all, Lady Cordial spoke in a milder voice. For now. Slowly and silently, the girls filed out of the office, then left Halo Hall. Outside, they stood uneasily in a loose circle, not sure what to do next. We can still make it to the Celestial Cafe in time for a quick breakfast before class, Clover said. She didn't feel very hungry. Still, maybe the others were and would want company. But shaking their heads, sad and upset, the other girls set off in different directions. Tessa? Clover called, certain that at least she would want to eat. But Tessa just turned away. Even she had lost her appetite.